Hello my dear students, welcome back to my channel. I'm Indira, your botany lecturer. So this video I'll be continuing for the last topic, that is last topic we discussed about completely about a DNA structure. And now next topic of the chapter, as all of you know, I started with molecular basis of inheritance. A part of it already I completed, like from transcription, translation and lac operon. And now I am going to continue from DNA onwards. In my previous videos, I completed up to DNA structure. And in today's session, I'll be discussing about search for genetic material. So, this is not a very difficult topic at all. This topic deals with some experiments done by various scientists to establish DNA as the genetic material. But for examination point of view, this is very important topic. Like as I discuss the topic, you will know what all the type of questions you can expect. So based on the experiment, you may get any questions. So as I do one experiment or one say topic, then one or two questions I'll tell you, like which type of questions you can expect in NEET exam. So now let's get into the topic. So search for genetic material is to establish that DNA is the genetic material. We all know the long way genetic material or study about genetics started from Mendel. And after Mendel study, Mendel completed his experiment sometime in 1863, from 1856 to 1863. After that, there was a very long gap. And in 1900s, there were three scientists who rediscovered Mendel's laws. Those three scientists are Carl Correns, Schermark and Hugo de Vries. Three scientists, Carl Correns, Schermark and Hugo de Vries. And after their rediscovery, many other studies were made in order to understand the genetic material. And very earlier study, like earlier gene was considered as only a hypothetical particle. It was not given any particular position or structure. It was just considered as an assumption. Hypothesis means something only assumption. Then later, Sutton and Boveri, this is sometime in 1902, Sutton and Boveri, they proposed chromosomal theory of inheritance. They proposed chromosomal theory of inheritance. So according to this, the chromosomes carry the hereditary unit, that is genes. And this they could propose based on Mendel's law of segregation, and also independent assortment. So based on this, they could propose that genes are located on the chromosome and they get separated during cell division. When cell division, when there is a separation of chromatids and chromosomes, there will be separation of genes also. And then later study by Thomas Hunt Morgan. This study was done sometime in 1910. Morgan studied in Drosophila. And the same conclusion he could make, where there are some genes or some factors or some genes which are inherited. So in Drosophila, he studied with various characters like eye color or body color, and then the inheritance of these eye or body color was explained. And Morgan also is related to the study of mutations. So Morgan proved that the genes are located on chromosomes but they are present in the nucleus. But the exact molecular nature of the genetic material or gene were not known. Like what exactly the genes are made up of was not known by then. Then next study by Griffith, Frederick Griffith. Frederick Griffith. This was in 1928. Frederick Griffith's study was in 1928, where he proposed what is called as a transforming principle. He called it as transforming principle. Transforming principle. So let us now understand what is the meaning of or what is a transforming principle and the experiment done by Frederick Griffith. So let us start with the topic transforming principle. So from here onwards, all the studies which were made, their main intention was to understand what is the chemical nature of the genetic material. So for transforming principle, to call it, Griffith called it as transforming principle. But by then also he did not know whether what is the chemical nature of that transforming principle. So he conducted transformation experiments. Using bacteria. Transformation experiments were conducted using bacteria. So bacteria which he studied is Streptococcus pneumoniae. Streptococcus pneumoniae, that was the bacteria used by him, and where he proved that transformation occurs in this bacteria. So what is the transformation here? The bacteria changes its morphological nature. One morphological form changes into the other morphological form. So here he selected two strains of bacteria. One is called as a smooth type or designated as S type. Another one is called as a rough type or called as R type. So what are all the features of the smooth type? Means it is a capsulated. That means it is covered by a capsule which is made up of polysaccharides. So when it is made up of polysaccharides, it gives that mucus lining and shiny nature. So because of this, it gives the shiny nature. It forms a mucus lining, mucus covering on the cells. And the smooth type of bacteria are generally, they are pathogenic in nature. That means they are disease causing in nature. They are pathogenic or disease causing. Or pathogenic means the word virulent also is used. What is the disease here? Pneumonia. It causes pneumonia. So it is a virulent type also. Whereas the rough type is a non-capsulated. There is no capsule present. Non-capsulated. No capsule is present. And it is avirulent or non-pathogenic. So he observed the transformation between these two. That is, after the experiment, he found that the rough type changes to smooth type. That is, it becomes pathogenic. So he conducted series of experiments and observed that there is transfer of some substance, which he called it as transforming principle, because it is bringing about transformation and changes the rough type into smooth type. So let us see what are all the experiments conducted by him and how the transformation occurs. So he conducted some 4 sets of experiments. 4 sets of experiments. So in the first set of experiment, S-type of bacteria, S-type was directly injected into the mouse. So when S-type directly injected into the mouse dies. When S-strain directly, because it is a disease causing. So when S-strain directly injected into the mouse dies. Similarly, when R-type directly injected into the mouse survives because it is non-pathogenic or avirulent. Third set of experiment, when heat killed S-type injected into the mouse again survives. Heat killed S-type when injected into the mouse again survives. And this is because heat killed S. Now we have to try to understand what is the meaning of heat killed. When bacteria is heated at a very high temperature, the cells may be killed, but here the DNA can survive. DNA property, one of the property of DNA we discussed that at very high temperatures, the DNA undergoes only denaturation. So, DNA cannot be destroyed under any extreme conditions also. So, when in heat killed S-type, only DNA remains. The DNA, when it is entering into the mouse survives because this DNA is not able to cause any disease in the mouse. Now, the fourth set of experiment, the heat killed S-type mixed with R-type. Heat killed S-type and mixed with R-type. When these two are mixed together, then injected into the mouse, here the mouse dies because R-type of bacteria, which is avirulent, it now changes into virulent. It is observed that the R-type, which is actually non-pathogenic, it now changes into pathogenic type. That's how it is causing disease in mouse and the mouse dies. It is due to this fourth experiment, it is observed that the transformation has taken place. That means R-type enters into, or it becomes the S-type. So what exactly happens here is the DNA from the S-type. So what is meaning of transformation is here the DNA from S-type enters into R-type. So suppose this is the R-type of bacteria. Say this is the R-type, and it is surrounded by the DNA of the S-type. This is the DNA of the S-type. So this DNA will directly can enter into R-type. That's what this process is called as a transformation. This also will be discussed in the topic sexual reproduction in bacteria. One of the method of sexual reproduction is transformation. What is transformation? The bacteria will be able to take any external DNA from the surroundings. The external DNA can enter into bacterial cell. This is the feature of only a bacterial cell, but not a eukaryotic cell. That's why in the third experiment, when the DNA is surrounded by these cells, which is mouse cells, which is eukaryote, the DNA of the bacteria could not enter into the cells of the mouse. That's how the mouse survives. But in the last type, when it is mixed with R-type, the DNA of S-type easily enters into R-type. And now this R-type will be converted into S-type, which is causing the disease. So by fourth experiment, the transformation is confirmed. But what is the chemical nature of these substances involved in transformation was not identified by this experiment. The chemical nature was not at all defined or identified. So in the next study by different scientists, biochemical characterization. The next topic here is what is biochemical characterization of biochemical characterization of transforming principle. Transforming principle. So biochemical characterization of transforming principle is what are those substances which are bringing about transformation. That was studied by three different scientists. The three scientists are Avery, MacLeod and McCarthy. Avery, MacLeod and McCarthy. The study was done between the period of 1933 to 44. Finally, in 1944, they could identify or give their observation. So, their experiment is to determine what is the biochemical nature or what are they composed of. So, here they extracted three biochemicals. They extracted three biochemicals from heat killed S type. Three biochemicals from heat killed S type. So what are those three biochemicals they extracted? Isolated is proteins, RNA and DNA. So these three biochemicals were extracted from heat killed S type and they injected separately into each of the mixture of cells. So he took different mixtures he has taken and then he injected. So what he did here is he has taken a mixture of heat killed cells. From the heat killed cells, he separated these three. Then he injected into the R type. When he injected into R type separately along with the enzyme. So here the enzymes were used. Enzymes to digest proteins, enzymes to digest RNA and enzymes to digest DNA. So separately when they were used. So initial experiment, what is done in case of Griffith's experiment, heat killed S type and R type were mixed together and they found the transformation occur. So same experiment he conducted by using certain enzymes. So what are those enzymes? Proteins. Proteins are digested by proteases. RNA is digested by RNases. And DNA is digested by DNases. So separately he used the enzymes along with this. Suppose he for example, suppose he used heat killed cells. Which cells? S cells. Heat killed S type of cells mixed with, for example, I'll give you a diagram also at the end. So for example, proteases. You know proteases are those which digest proteins. So when he mixed with proteases, they made sure that no other substance must be present in this mixture where they took this heat killed S cells. No other substance means they removed lipids and carbohydrates. So only proteins, RNA and DNA was there in the mixture along with the cells without any other substances like lipids and carbohydrates. So when heat killed S cells mixed with proteases and then injected into R type. So here proteases were used, so they digest only proteins. That means DNA is intact. So when DNA is intact, what can we observe here? Transformation occurs. I hope you are understanding this experiment using the enzymes. So heat killed cells are taken first. From that, other substances like lipids and carbohydrates are removed, and then only these substances are present, that is proteins, RNA and DNA, to make sure that which is bringing about transformation, whether is it a protein or is it RNA or DNA. So to this heat killed cells, first proteases when they were added, then injected into R type, they found that transformation is occurring. Now in the second experiment, heat killed S cells, they were mixed with second type of enzyme, that is RNases. RNases are those which digest RNA, and then injected into R cells. So here also RNA will digest. That means DNA is still intact, and they found that transformation occurs. Now in the third set of experiment, heat killed S type mixed with DNases. Heat killed S type mixed with DNases, then injected into R type. So here DNA will be digested, and they found that there is no transformation occurring. So in this way, they identified that the transforming principle is DNA by using these three enzymes. So here I will give you a diagrammatic representation showing the same diagrammatically. I hope this you will be able to understand. So what does this diagram say? Biochemical characterizations of Griffith's transforming principle. So in the first culture, heat killed S type are taken. Lipids and carbohydrates are removed from that. So listen carefully, I am repeating once again. And here 3 sets are taken. So in the first set they added proteases. So no proteins are present in the sample here. When they add proteases, all proteins will be digested. So no proteins are present in the sample. To this they added R cells. And these R cells are converted into S cells. That means transformation has occurred when proteases are used. Second set, RNases, that is ribonucleases, are used. When ribonucleases are added, there was no RNA in the sample. And then when they added R cells, they again found the S cells appear. That means R cells are converted into S cells. And in the third set of experiment, they added deoxyribonucleases, that is DNases. So when they added DNases, no DNA was present in the sample. Then when they added R cells to this, R cells, they do not find any S cells. That means there is no transformation occurring. In the first 2 cases, the transformation was occurring, but not in the third case. So with this, it is proved that it is the DNA which is bringing about transformation. So they gave an answer to what is transforming principle is the transforming principle is made up of DNA. Now the third experiment which confirms further that DNA is genetic material. The third experiment is called as the Hershey and Chase experiment. It is called as a Hershey and Chase experiment. Third experiment is Hershey and Chase experiment. Hershey and Chase experiment, this was sometime proposed much later after the previous one, Avery, MacLeod, McCarthy. This was proposed, this experiment was proposed, it was done in the year 1952. This is done in the year 1952. So this, you know, just 1 year before the actual DNA structure was proposed by Watson and Crick. So by 1952, it was without any doubt, it was confirmed that it is DNA is the genetic material. So here the experiment, the Hershey and Chase experiment, Hershey and Chase conducted transduction experiment. They conducted transduction experiment using T2 bacteriophage. Using T2 bacteriophage, they conducted transduction experiment. And so transduction, you know very well, when a virus infects a bacterial cell. So this is a virus. Bacteriophage is a virus infecting bacterial cell. So when a virus infects a bacterial cell and enters into bacterial cell, it starts synthesizing its own parts. And this we have done, you know it, in lytic cycle of viruses, the only DNA of the virus enters into the bacterial cell. Viruses have only two parts, the nucleic acid part and the protein part. So protein remains outside and only nucleic acid enters into the bacterial cell. This is briefly what happens in a viral cycle. This again separately I am going to do in lytic and lysogenic cycle separately in the topics. So that is what is the transduction experiment done. So by transduction experiment they could understand that, and this is called as the unequivocal proof. This word is very important, children. Unequivocal proof that DNA is genetic material. DNA is genetic material. Unequivocal means without any doubt or without any other opposition or without any other doubt. By this experiment, it is proved that the DNA is the genetic material. So here, what we will do, I'll show you a diagram. Diagrammatically, we will discuss this. So here, what is done first is the bacteriophages are taken, viruses are taken. They are first treated separately with radioactive sulfur S32 and radioactive phosphorus. Radioactive sulfur and radioactive phosphorus. Phosphorus, that is P32 and S35. This is S35 and this is P32. These are the radioactive phosphorus and sulfur. So bacteriophages are treated separately with radioactive sulfur and radioactive phosphorus. Now, first of all, we should know that if bacteriophages are treated with sulfur, which part of bacteriophage can take sulfur? We know very well that a bacteriophage consists of, a bacteriophage will have only, a bacteriophage consists of, or a virus or a bacteriophage is a virus. A bacteriophage will have only DNA and outer protein coat. You know very well this outer protein coat is called as a capsid. So it has only two parts, two chemicals, DNA and the protein. Suppose first this S35, sulfur is used. First, suppose if sulfur is used, sulfur is found in protein. To stabilize the protein structure, sulfur is present. So, in first case, suppose sulfur is used, where will be the sulfur present? The radioactive sulfur will be present only in the outer coat, that is capsid. And now, this treated bacteriophage is allowed to infect. First step is called as infection. So this sequence is very important, children. The first step is called as infection. the treated bacteriophages were allowed to infect the bacteria. Then bacteriophages will inject their DNA into the cell. That is what is infection. Second step is called as blending. Blending, or it is agitating. Blending or agitating means these cells are put in a blender or mixer so that these virus particles will be separated. The virus particles will be separated. That is called blending. Blending is done to separate. It is done to separate virus particles. So first stage infection is done. Infection means the DNA of the viruses will enter into bacterial cell. Second stage blending is done to separate these bacteriophages from the bacterial cells. Now the third step is called as a centrifugation step. The third step is called as centrifugation. So now what is the meaning of centrifugation? I will once again separately I'll give you. The third step is called as a centrifugation. Centrifugation is separation of any two chemicals or any two structures based on their molecular weight. They are subjected to an instrument called as ultracentrifuge. They are subjected to an instrument called as ultracentrifuge, which rotates at very high speed. It rotates at very high speed. So after blending, when they are subjected to centrifugation, we get two parts in the test tube. We get two parts in the test tube after centrifugation. We get the precipitate part, precipitate. Heavier one, will settle down and form the precipitate. And the upper part, this is called as a supernatant. Upper part is called as a supernatant or residue, precipitate and supernatant. So heavier one will be present at the down and lighter one. So here heavier one will be bacterial cells because they have all other parts also. So heavier one will be bacterial cells. So bacterial cells will remain at the bottom. So here we find at the precipitate we find bacterial cells, bacteria. Supernatant we will find the virus particles. Now in the first experiment, when sulfur is used, what happens? Sulfur will be incorporated only in the protein part. Sulfur only in the protein part. So where will be protein part will be left in the supernatant. Protein part will be left in the supernatant. So we find radioactivity is detected only in supernatant. Radioactivity in the first experiment is detected only in supernatant. There is no radioactivity of radioactive S or sulfur detected in the cells because it will not enter into cells. So with this it is proved that it is only DNA which is entering. Now when P32 is used, when phosphorus is used, when P32 by same techniques, that is infection, blending and centrifugation. Phosphorus will be incorporated in DNA. It enters into DNA. So same when infection and blending and centrifugation is done. Now where is the phosphorus present? Phosphorus now will be present in the radioactive cells. That means in the precipitate. Because precipitate consists of bacterial cells. So DNA will be present here in the bacterial cells. So with this experiment also, it is proved that it is only the DNA which is entering into bacterial cells and then causing the infection. Whatever genetic transformation is seen in bacterial cells, that is because of the DNA from the viruses which is entering into the bacterial cells. So with this transduction experiment, it is further proved that it is DNA which is the genetic material. So these 3 experiments. Now how you can get the questions out of it? Because experiments, I don't think it should be very difficult to understand. But the questions how you get. So first thing, of course, children scientists here, and they say organisms in which the experiment is done, that you have to remember. So first question, okay, I will write it here. I hope this is clear. So this is given in textbook also, children should know. So the first type of question which you can get, maybe I can list down some 3 or 4 or 5 questions here. So first type of questions, MCQs, which you can get here. First, you should be thorough about the scientist's name in each experiment, scientist, and the experiments and the year. Like, what is scientist's name in transformation experiment? Transforming principle, Frederick Griffith. Which experiment he has done? Transformation experiment. Which year? 1928. So that way for each one you have to remember it. Then next, in the organisms which are involved in each, whether it's a bacteria or bacteriophage or organism, what is the organisms involved? And in transformation experiment, the set of 4 experiments you can get as a question, or which experiment actually led to transformation. Which experiment in the Griffith's experiment, it is heat killed S plus mixed with R. This led to the understanding of transformation. So this is another way you can get. Now in the second experiment, every MacLeod and McCarthy experiment, the enzymes which are used, to establish biochemical nature of transforming principle. So 3 enzymes used which can help in understanding what is the nature of transforming principle. Then coming to the third experiment, Hershey and Chase experiment, the 3 steps which are involved. Of course, this is common. Scientists, what is the experiment? Means it is transduction experiment, and in the year. And what are the radioactive isotopes used here? Radioisotopes used here. Radioisotopes used are, what are the isotopes used? S35 and P32. Sulfur and phosphorus isotopes are used. Then sequence of steps here. In this experiment, sequence of steps you can get. Like, what is the sequence? First step is infection by a bacteriophage. Second step is called as a blending. And the third step is called as centrifugation step. So this is another sequence you can get. And any question directly based on the experiment also you can expect. So I think here we conclude this, children. I completed this topic. So I hope you have understood and followed my session right from the beginning to the end. So I hope all I have made it very clear. So right now, let me close this session. In my next session, I'm going to discuss about DNA replication. Of course, the next topic in the textbook will be properties of genetic material. So that briefly we can discuss, and then I can start with DNA replication. DNA replication is very, very important, children. And after the completing DNA replication, the complete DNA, I'm going to discuss some important MCQs. That will be complete one session if we are discussing about the MCQs. So thank you very much, children. So please subscribe my channel. Still, if you have not yet subscribed, thank you very much. Have a good day.